we are. It's Tuesday. There's a lot going on, and Evergrande, or Evergrande, I believe it's Evergrande, and it has to do with China. And it is a real interesting bellwether about Chinese economy and economic stability. There's a lot to be said about that. The Belt and Road Initiative and all of that as well. So Mike McGill is here with us this first hour from Liberty Gold and Silver, and I'm sure that's one of the things we can discuss here. There are many others. The country is financially imploding because of the pandemic and the fakery and the institutionalized deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. And mass murder is what it is. Not changing. Nothing. The script is laid out. If they are forced to back down at all, they'll simply shift into a new pathway of horror. Could be anything. Asteroid, another type of bioweapon released. They've got dozens of them on the shelf. Doesn't matter. Do we think the Canary Island volcano is going to break loose? I don't think so, and I've said so from the beginning. The new vent, the new volcano, is in the wrong location. It's not near the 9 Mile crack in the top of the ridge, so I don't see that happening. There are a lot of people out there talking about it, trying to minimize it or maximize it, but I'm just watching and waiting. We have the live feed up on the top of the homepage now. You can take a look at that. It is quite a scene. Mother Nature is capable of a lot of power and force, and there are going to be, I am told from a very reliable source, many more volcanic eruptions in the very near future. Not to mention earthquakes, weather issues, crop failures, climate extremes, all manner of things, all designed ultimately, along with geoengineered weather, to make life hell on Earth for those who are survivors. And I'm not sure how many that's going to entail, but there will be some for sure. People are preparing and they're getting ready. So, with that said, let's bring on Mike McGill. How are you, Michael? What's new?
Well, Jeff, I'm handling the pandemic as well as I possibly can, and we are.
Good.
And I want to thank you for all your efforts. It is every single day. It seems more difficult to keep up with breaking news stories and the machinations of it all.
Oh my God!
And just like, it's beyond radical. I used to remember, Jeff. I was recalling listening to the morning radio program with my grandparents when I was about 7, 8 years old, and they come on in the morning, and it was on the radio, and they would discuss just the general news of the day, and it sounded like reading the crop report back in Omaha in 1939 or something. It was everything very staid. There was not any massive dislocations like is occurring now. Now the whole planet is just convulsed, it seems, with on every angle and every level with pain and suffering and insanity. And the three impurities of greed, anger, and stupidity obviously are in full blow up here. They're going crazy, and the people are going right along with that. And it's really very sad to watch, actually, from my perspective. But that's the reality, it seems.
True. Yeah, it's convulsing. And this economy, I don't look. The economy of the former United States of America is clearly in a debilitated state, and it's probably going to implode. I don't know. I think it'll be a controlled implosion, carefully and meticulously done to exacerbate the situation. Where they want to make it worse, they're going to do this. It's pulling strings. They're very good at it. When do you think this is going to happen? When do you see this thing coming down? I understand that the S&P today convulsed a bit at the stocks. Tell me more.
It got hit again. One thing that you have to look at is the bellwether of all markets in the world, and it affects every single thing that happens economically on this planet, and it's because we have the Federal Reserve System, and we are still the reigning world reserve currency, and we have been all the way since the Bretton Woods conference back in 1944-45, where the U.S. dollar was given the status of the world reserve currency, and where the dollar was priced at $35 to the price of gold, and that was a standard that went along and worked halfway okay until the United States was going bankrupt because of both warfare of Vietnam and welfare under the Lyndon Johnson debacle of welfare spending was bankrupting the country, and of course we didn't have the gold to pay off the quarterly account deficits to our trading partners around the world, especially Europe. And so we very conveniently just started paying people from that forth, not in gold, but in IOUs and treasury bills. So since then, the 10-year treasury has been the ruling bellwether indicator of what will happen in the planet. Well, those rates have been driven down during the COVID thing, down as low as 0.49%. And but recently, after they tried to, it got up to about 1.75, and then it got back down to about 1.17. Everything was looking like it was going to get going smooth. The Fed kept saying, "Okay, we're going to extend forever. Don't worry about it. All this inflation is just temporary." That has been the main focus of the Federal Reserve and all the lackey business journalists. This is temporary inflation, and as soon we'll relent and we'll get the so-called back to a new normal. But what the bond market is reading at
normal? How can you use that expression?
A new normal. I just felt like we should. So, in any case,
I don't think normal is ever going to fit.
That wouldn't.
Any kind of
normalcy is maybe banished from the English language for eternity after we've done this one here.
That's right. Look, chaos will be the new normal. Chaos, crisis, suffering, and death. That's going to be the new normal, but
correct.
That's not normal.
That is already the new normal.
Abnormal.
Yeah. It's abnormal, but we're hearing the classic, Orwellian doublespeak here. Right out of 1984 is exactly correct. What is that? Something like work is, ignorance is strength, work is slavery, or whatever. The classic doublespeak of the Orwell.
Black is white, up is down, in is out, all of it.
All of it, yeah. So in any case, what's happening here is the 10-year Treasury was starting to really blow up here again. It's gone up from 1.17 to 1.56 in the last about 3 weeks. That's a 4.3. Today, it jammed up 6.5 basis points. That's 6.5 100ths. And that happened to be equivalent to a 4.3% increase in those rates in just one day today. And the 30-year long bond touched over 10%. So why is that important? Well, the 10-year Treasury determines the cost of all lending in the world, basically. All real estate loans, refinance mortgage rates, credit card rates, new and used car payments, the various rates for all types of tranches of lending, whether it's poor credit, good credit, both for consumers and for business. All of this is completely tied to the 10-year Treasury. And the Fed is, of course, keeping the Fed's fund rate of 0 to 0.25, and they keep soothing words flowing into the market to try to make people feel good, saying this inflation is just temporary, it'll soon be over, we're back to normal, so rates shouldn't have to rise at all. They'll probably go lower again, but they haven't been. And for 2 weeks in a row, the stock market also is taking a lead from this, had a disastrous day today. Dow was down 569 points. S&P down.
How big of a hit is that, Mike? How big of a hit? 1.63% for one day.
Okay. NASDAQ, the tech market is beginning to show glaring weakness in all the technicals, all all the matrices, down 423 today and change, down to almost 3% today, almost 3% in one day. This happened last week, but at the end of the week last Friday, toward the end of the week on Thursday, they bought it up again, partially. They took some of the sting out. Plunge protection team jumped in there, began throwing money at it. But then again, it sold up again here on Monday, right out of the chute here, big. And so we think that this is going to continue, and that's the last thing these markets can endure is rising interest rates for several reasons. One, the government has to pay annual interest, and if rates start going, they can't hardly afford to pay the several hundred billion dollars a year we pay in interest now. But if rates start moving up, that makes it very difficult and makes the pain for the government and the economy way worse. So we're in the very beginning here, first inning, if you will, where the visiting team stepping in the batter's box. We've seen a couple pitches. That's the way we look at it. We're looking down the third base coast to get our sign for the third pitch of the third pitch of the game. The Fed wants to claim that we're in the eighth inning. It's almost over. We'll be back to a regular winning schedule here shortly, ladies and gentlemen. We disagree entirely. I mean, this Fed is one corrupt organization, and they take their marching orders from the World Banking Cartel. And speaking of the Fed legacy here, I don't know if you've heard, but it's breaking news yesterday and today. Two of the Fed presidents, one Rosengren, note the what am I trying to say here to be not too nasty. Notice the ethnicity of that name, Rosengren. I'll put it that way.
Right.
He's the Fed chair of the Boston Federal Reserve. He announced he's resigning after just a couple days ago. The major conflict of interest questions have arisen about him doing trading on the Federal Reserve. He's saying he's going to need a kidney transplant, etc. Well, it's alleged here that Rosengren made frequent and substantial trades in 2020, according to Reuters. Bloomberg expounded on Rosengren's trading, noting that he dealt in real estate investments trusts, not trading in a blind trust, which he claimed he had, that hold mortgage-backed securities. These are the same mortgage-backed securities, the CNBC is saying, that the Fed was buying up to keep their price high. He said Rosengren held between $151,000 and $800,000 worth of real estate investment trusts that owned mortgage-backed securities. He made as many as 37 separate trades in the four REITs, are called real estate trusts, while the Fed purchased almost $700 billion in mortgage-backed securities over the last 9 to 10 months. This is incredible. This is massive conflict of interest. Wow. Then on to the other darling, Robert. Is his first name Robert? I believe it is. Robert. Is it Robert Kaplan? I think it's Robert. Yes, Robert
Close
Kaplan.
enough.
He's the darling head of the Dallas Federal Reserve.
Or Richard, but it's Robert.
Robert Kaplan. He's been a bad boy too. But
children in the sandbox.
Silver in the sandbox, absolutely. He has been charged with making all kinds of conflict of interest trades, insider trading. He had some of his portfolio trading had options trading in certain stocks, carrying well over multi-million-dollar positions in this, while he is supposedly jawboning down interest rates and telling everybody it's going to be fine. In other words, he's been profiting on inside knowledge that only the uber elite of the whole world are aware of. Both of them announced their resignations. Kaplan is stepping down here on the 8th of October, and Rosengren is going to be, I think, on the 1st of October. They both said they need to get on with their lives. They made some lovely statements here that Kaplan says, during my, I have to quote these, I mean, the hypocrisy here is just amazing. So during my tenure, I've adhered to all Federal Reserve ethical standards and policies, he said. My securities investing activities and disclosure met bank compliance. Well, they didn't at all, according to about 5 or 6 different articles. I'm not going to read them all tonight. It would jam up the whole show, but it's a complete lie. And then he said, I want to be able to look back on the years from, on this years from now and know that we rose to meet the challenge and handle the situation well. And what we did made a lot of sense to protect the public interest and the institutions that we are all a part of. Well, the institution he's all a part of is the greatest Ponzi scheme in the history of planet Earth, bigger than all the rest ever combined entirely. It makes Bertie Madoff look like a cheap Brooklyn subway pickpocket by comparison. And this institution of the Federal Reserve is robbing this nation for so many trillions here in the course of its 108-year history. It's almost astonishing. And these are the main players. They're all New England graduates of Yale, sure. Brown, Princeton, Harvard. They never worked a day in their life. They never delivered a newspaper. They never painted a house. They never nailed a board. They never did anything. They come from a blue blood elite. They believe it's their birthright to rob and steal and pillage, and they move forward, and this just continues. So there's your update on I mean, this is all breaking at the same time this sure. market's starting to look very, very dicey to us. These are truly Zionist bank rats leaving the ship, jumping the ship right now. They know it's going down. The rats are scurrying down the mooring lines down there to the dock. You're probably going to see more of them. They're coming under, and I will have to say, even Bloomberg, and that's a rat organization as well, but even them and Reuters, they're starting to cover this now. It's in your face so strongly. There's a lot of CYA going on here, covering your own bottom, and they're starting to put this out here pretty boldly, and it's getting a lot more, you might say, mainstream press attention, which is only going to be deleterious for markets. That's all I can say here. So, batten down the hatches. Another little banking note from our very favorite bank, Wells Fargo, aptly named by my close associate in our company, Ron Ollendorf. Ron, if you're listening tonight, this goes out to you. He aptly named Wells Fargo, the stagecoach bank that robs you, which I think has to become part of my personal lexicon. Wells Fargo today just paid a $35 million fine and $37 million fine and a $35 million refunding to 771 small businesses as they had defrauded by overcharging them quite a bit in currency exchanges.
These are small businesses?
Yep. Uh-huh. They were small to medium businesses that did international buying and selling of inventory, and so they had to, whenever you do that, you have to make a currency exchanges through your bank to go into whatever it is, into yuan to buy it there, or to go into yen, or into the British pound, or the euro. And they had been clipping the 771 small, rather unsophisticated businesses. They weren't doing that to Amazon, I assure you. They weren't doing that to Walmart, I assure you. But they've been working these guys over here for several years. They weren't even aware of it at all. And the comments are just great. It got out that the traders were just loving this. They had actually created this themselves. They probably will not be indicted, of course. They will not be doing prison time. They probably could be charged under RICO statutes. They won't be. But the bonuses of the people working in the international clearing in the bank were giving the last several years received nice little stocking stuffers for well over $1 million a year for the last 2 or 3 years. So they just paid out another about a total of around $70 million in penalties and restitution today. So this is daily affairs in the banking system in the world, and especially among the not the small banks in the states that are solid. We're talking the big investment banks. They do this. They get their hands slapped. They make a lot of money. They pay a pittance. It's like paying the electric bill to these guys, and then they do it again, and it goes on and on. And so this criminality and the suffering of the world will never ever end until we end private reserve, central bank, fractional reserve banking. Till we knock that out, eradicate it, cut the head off that hydra.
Yes,
we expect nothing but pain and suffering in all realms of life until that occurs. Correct. Period. We stand by that.
It ain't going to happen. It's nothing that can be rehabilitated, changed, morphed into anything human or humane as a financial instrument or an entity. It can't happen. It's not going to happen. So what you're saying is we literally have to take this whole thing down, clean the slate, vacuum it all up, scrub it to the bone, and then dry it out and start over again.
What we need here, as much as I'm anti-violent, we need a Louis the 16th, French Revolution moment here. And that's the only thing that's going to cleanse this sucker. I guarantee
it's the only kind of action by the people that could bring them to some kind of salvation. And I agree. All right, hold on. Mike and I will be right back. These are very difficult times. Stand by. Is migrating inland and is moving across the entire country. There's only one proven defender to radiation exposure, the brilliant Chernobyl-proven discovery of Dr. Michael Kiriak, which combines the 4 most potent and powerful algae on the planet, imported to the U.S. and known as bio-superfood. I've taken bio-superfood every day for several years now and want you to do the same for your sake and the health and safety of your family and loved ones. Take the banner at the top of Rense.com and prepare to learn how to save your life. Electromagnetic radiation and Wi-Fi pollution is constantly surrounding us. There is no escape or practical way to block it short of living in a Faraday cage. As we know, private and business life on cell phones, tablets, and all digital devices can't function without Wi-Fi and electromagnetic radiation. Why not learn how to neutralize the danger from ionizing radiation now? We invite you to consider protecting yourself with the new Protect Pro Smart Defender series. Proven and certified by the BESA laboratories in Austria, these small, flat discs actually harmonize electromagnetic radiation and protect you while allowing you full use of all your portable Wi-Fi devices, wherever you go. That's right, there's now a way to safely and confidently use all your digital devices thanks to this brilliant technology from Protect Pro. Just one little disc is proven to change the nature of Wi-Fi EMR ionizing radiation, making it safe to be around and to use. Go to protectpro.net and read the lab-certified test results for yourself. So be safe. Go to protectpro.net. All right, now let me just hold on. Give me the floor. The Trends Journal, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. The Trends Journal is what Time magazine might have been long ago had they really uncorked it and let it happen. They didn't. It was a controlled message platform from the beginning. But it was at least a pretense of intellectual news and information. The Trends Journal leaves that so far behind, and I'm not exaggerating. Gerald has created something here that is absolutely in a class by itself. There's nothing else that compares with it. If you still believe in reading, get the Trends Journal. Keep it around. It doesn't age. You can pick it up in 3-4 months and learn. You can pick it up in a year and learn. It doesn't wear out. It's a true phenomenon. Go to trendsjournal.com. That's trendsjournal.com.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Oxygen. It's nature's oldest therapy and plays an essential role in destroying viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, and fungus, and keeping the human body healthy and strong. Now, you can give your body and your immune system a mega boost of disease-fighting oxygen with all-natural Oxy-C. With so many people now leading a sedentary indoor lifestyle, most are in a chronic state of oxygen deprivation, which sets up a perfect environment for disease, general fatigue, and a host of other symptoms. Oxy-C is yours in simple, convenient capsules. Nothing to mix, nothing to hassle with. Take it with juice or water anytime. Feel a cold or flu approaching? Have no energy or spark anymore? Try all-natural Oxy-C and prepare to be amazed. Oxy-C is only available from New Earth Health Solutions at Rense.com. Look for the New Earth banner at Rense.com.
Real people, real stories.
I had acute eczema. I have tried every cream and ointment that you can imagine. It was pretty miserable. So I started taking the Carnivora, and at this point, I don't want to ever be without it.
Our little dog developed this lymph problem. The chemotherapy lasted for 6 months. He started developing more lymph nodes that were swelled up. So I thought I'd just try Carnivora. The lymph nodes started to go down, swelling did. Then I took him into the vet to have him checked out, and there was no signs at all inside.
My cat had issues that developed in his eye, so my veterinarian said, you know what, let's go ahead and remove the eye. I heard the Carnivora advertising, so I said, you know what, I'm going to order this product. They did all the tests. I kid you not, this product saved his eye.
Call 866-836-8735. That's 866-836-8735. Or visit carnivore.com. That's CARNIVORA.com.
Okay, welcome back. Talking to Mike McGill. All right, where does all this chaos and madness leave the little guy or the medium guy and gal? What's happening to them? Are they being flushed? Are they being cast aside? Are they being stomped on? Are they being picked up like a dish rag and wrung out? What's going on?
Yeah, they are, especially in real estate.
Now tell me more. This is big. This is a big subject. I'm not joking. A lot of people are trying to move, trying to sell, trying to buy. So, yeah, go ahead.
First of all, rents are back soaring again. Rents in the last 3 or 4 or 5 months are up between 10 and 25% on average. They are scorching. A lot of these eviction moratoriums are ending, and the landlords, and of course a lot of them are billionaire hedge funds like BlackRock hedge funds buying up mega houses and jamming rents to the stratosphere because the small people anymore cannot afford to buy a house. Amazing statistics. Let me just read you a couple of statistics. I'm going to read a couple articles. I'm going to not quite the order I just laid this out, but you just have to listen to what's going on. This whole thing is a Hindenburg, a giant, a height not helium, which is inert gas, but hydrogen gas, massively exploding. Imagine a Hindenburg about the size of Texas floating over your local community here, filled with hydrogen at low altitude. And that's basically what we have in these markets. Here's a great report coming out here a little later. It was reporting 4 days ago from Wall Street, which Wolf Richter is one of my favorite reads every day. Jeff Rense listeners, please read Wall Street Daily along with 321gold.com. Start your reading with that and you'll understand a whole lot of things. Okay, here's a couple breaking things 4 days ago. Unfinished houses for sale pile up. Total inventory highest since the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the blow up, and Bear Stearns, the great financial collapse in 2008. Amid material shortages and worst spike in construction costs since 1979. Cut to the chase. Sales of new single-family houses in August were down by 24.3% from August last year to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 740,000 houses, down 25%. Meanwhile, housing prices are the highest they've ever been in the history of the world. They really are, at least in the United States. We're talking about the United States.
Are they selling, Mike? Are they selling? No?
Let me tell you.
Go ahead.
They are kind of selling, but they're not selling well because guess what? People can't qualify. Very few people can qualify for that range. I'll get to a couple more things here. This is really fascinating. Okay, so here, ballooning inventories. Now this is astonishing. This happened here since the spring. So we're talking in the last few months. A record of 90.5 of the houses for sale, that's in the entire nation, Florida, Alaska, Maine to Hawaii, a record of 90.5% of the houses for sale are either not started or unfinished as total inventory piles up. Home builders are complaining about material shortages and labor shortages and surging costs and all kinds of other issues that prevent them from starting construction or completing construction. Inventory for sale of construction is as follows. Non-started houses for sale jumped to 105,000, up from 60,000 in August 2019. Under construction houses jumped to 237,000, up from 185 in August 2019. And completed houses for sale were up 81,000. Were down, up 81,000 units rather. So this is just the supply of new houses has been above 6 months for the fourth month in a row. These things are not selling now. The prices still continue to increase dramatically, and it's just. This is going to end badly. We're at what can I say? We're at a tipping point. Is what we're saying in the real estate market. Yeah. Real estate is an enormous part of the planet. All construction jobs operate against that. The whole thing is tied to a very, very important part of the economy. It is just outrageous. Construction costs spiked the most since 1979. They are up dramatically. They are up here since in 2021. They are up construction costs are up 14% here this year, just alone. And this is what. So this is brutal. What's going to go on here? Another thing that I want to talk about, if we could find it here a little bit. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quickly. Sorry about that, guys. Another couple things that was really fascinating. That in the total, in the range of prices for sale. Okay, how in the United States, showing how much the average home has increased beyond the poor or the lower classes' ability to own a house. The percentages of homes that sold for $200,000 or less when you averaged them out, rounded them off to the nearest percentile, was 0. In the whole United States, the percentile of homes for sale for $200,000 or less were effectively 0. 300,000 or less, they were only like 12 or 13%. Now you go into the 300, 400, 500, then you get into 30, 40, 50, that kind of idea. So meaning that the lower classes can't afford any real estate. The low middle class can hardly afford anything. Regular middle class is going to have a real tough time qualifying. Upper middle can buy something, but what they'll be buying is a home that would have been classified as a lower class property 7-8 years ago. I mean, so this thing is just getting totally whacked. People buying, we believe, anybody buying real estate at this juncture has to be patently insane. No matter how bad you want a house, no matter how much the wifey and the kids are saying, could we please buy a home so we can own something at last? Don't do it. It's our recommendation. Don't fall for it. If you can save your money, if you can hold on to it, or you have some kind of income, wait a while. Not that long a while. This market, to enter the real estate market here at these nosebleed level is the same as buying into Tesla, the NASDAQ, at insane inflated levels. People doing this now are going to get absolutely crucified, way worse than the real estate collapses back in 2008, 9, and 10. Way worse, because the prices now are so much higher, and the indebtedness and the risk and the pressure is 20-fold more. I mean, after all, the indebtedness of the world has moved, the planet has moved from $100 trillion at the beginning of the century, 21 years later, to $300 trillion. Okay, all that debt has been printed into circulation and borrowed into circulation, and it doesn't take into account the $1.5 quadrillion of derivative risk, highly leveraged as much as 100 to 200 to 300 times to 1. All, by the way, not traded over the counter, not completely unregulated by any government agencies in the world. This debt is all tied to all this risk, and now we're going to get on to China here. Where you asked that question, we're going to deal with that right now because that's crucial. So let's take a look at what's going on with the real estate market in China here. Just absolutely astonishing what's going on. So. To start with, let's cover a brilliant video. You guys can look for it. Google this one. It's called, just Google China blows up 15 high-rises. Google that one. It's a 47-second high digital quality video, and it takes place in the city of Kunming. Okay, another one of the 2 or 300 cities in China that have populations well over 1 million people. And this place got overbuilt like you can't believe. So what are they blowing up? Are they old factories? No. These were, I counted the stories. They appear to be about 26 stories plus 3 or 4 gigantic double-story, what do you call, penthouse suites on top. They started building these back in 2011 and 12, and they never were completed. It's the concrete structures. They didn't get the windows in. I don't know how much inside plumbing. They probably plumbed them on the way up. They're just sitting there, and they decided they would just blow them all up. So they had a grand implosion that covered the entire city in dust. What they did is they flew special airplanes out to drop water like forest firefighting planes to try to keep the dust down. I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, this is just insane. So this is emblematic of where now China has hundreds, not a total, I think there was a total of 15 of these buildings, okay? But This is a tiny micro fraction, maybe not even 0.5% or 0.1% of unlived in dwellings that have never been completed. They got thrown up there under a massive Ponzi scheme, just incredible. The Communist Party has to always create work for the normies down there. If they don't do it, they will lose their mandate from heaven there, and they will find themselves at the end of a rope. So they keep inventing make-work projects all over China. That's now coming to fruition, and especially with Evergrande, the bank that carries.
Now this is a big one.
Half a trillion dollars in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, $500 billion in debt. They missed last week 2 tranches of their foreign bonds for a total, I think, of bonds. Total bonds were $80 billion and $44 billion. They didn't pay the rent on that. They failed to do it. All private governments, city, municipal, county, and state have been given fair warning by the Bank of China, prepare to meet for disaster. That went out here last Friday. Didn't get a lot of coverage in the Western press. This is a huge, huge problem. A couple things I'd like to talk about real quickly here. Let's go to the next article. Let's bring it up. I can just kind of read from it directly here if I can, just to cut to the chase. The article here out of Mises Institute, which I try to read every week for sure. They're saying that this is much more than a Lehman failure moment, much more than that. Why? Because as much as 60 to 75% of the common people's net worth is invested in some form of real estate. Even advancements for like down payments on new condo building they plan to take possession of, then flip for more money, or loans to real estate and development companies. There's hundreds of them in China, but the Evergrande's the greatest, and the next 12 or 15 behind that, they represent as much as 25 to 33% of the entire GDP of the entire government of China. Oh, by the way, that GDP is saddled with sovereign debt at a ratio of 300% the GDP. 300% the annual GDP. That's what their national debt is right now.
Wow.
That never gets attention here in the West. Why? Because the West, how did China get to this wealth? How did it get started? Well, they were given favored nation status, and Kissinger and the Rockefellers and the Bushes and these guys set them up to be the great slave labor market for American manufacturing, so that the big corporations in the United States could offshore all the jobs over there, and then mammothly raise their annual profit structure because they were cutting their cost of labor down to a fraction. These corporations have always hated paying living wages. They've never liked it. They finally found out a way they could get around that. Well, the denouement of all that is coming to fruition right now. This bill is going to get paid. There is a lot of foreign money invested in China. Nobody knows how much, but lots. We're not talking millions. We're not talking billions. There's some trillions cumulatively over the world in various structured investments. A whole lot of it is in real estate from all over the planet. It's a massive cat's cradle, if you will, of just interticing loans, and I mean, who even knows what it means? It is just unfathomable the amount of interbank risk between these entities. These guys are all playing high risk craps with the rent is the best way to describe it. They're putting out manly bets all over the crap table. They're buying all the hard ways, if you know what I mean. The hard 8, the hard 4. The bets that have 30, the bets that have the bets that are 36-1 odds hitting before a sevens rolled up, but they only pay 9 and 7-1. That's how bad a bet that is in a crap table. These are the bets these guys have extended credit to China right now. This thing is going to end here in the greatest casino collapse in history because it is a casino. It is the greatest casino ever invented to fleece all the common people. Now we have recently reported, I think I might have discussed it last week, but the upper 1% of the American wealth owns a total of 45% of the stock equity in the United States. The bottom 50% owns 20%. And out of that upper 1%, the 1/10% to 100%, down as low as about 400 to 500 major families, out of that number, they own about 90% of that amount. So we're talking about a wealth transfer that's been going on here with the Federal Reserve putting out easy money. It gets gobbled up and given at 0 inches to the uber wealthy first. They're the ones that benefit from it. They give everybody. As a matter of fact, on this, I just read today, Jeff, that this new infrastructure bill, they call it, that's going to massively hurt the middle class dramatically. Actually, it's going to wind up being a total of the first year, maybe as much as add as much in the next year or so of $5.1 trillion of debt. It had a couple of things about it.
Mike, they don't care. It's not real money. It doesn't matter to them.
It doesn't.
You
matter
know that as well as anyone.
There's more where that came from. What I'm saying is there's going to be a point here. What day it happens when the people of the world have a Zimbabwe moment. You can watch videos. You can Google this. People in Venezuela on the street, little kids carrying giant armloads of like $10,000 or $100,000 Bolivar notes, like stacks, like the equivalent in U.S. dollars would be like hundreds of millions, like armloads. They just take it and it's just laying out on the shoulder, thrown around because it has no value. Right. It has no value. And it's, Argentina's going the same way. South America is virtual collapsing down there. Their whole credit markets are blowing up. People think it can't happen here. It already has happened here. Oh, yeah, I just remembered what I was going to say. Well, at least I thought I did. Something about, what was this? I'll get it in a minute. I'll come back to me. I'll pull my notes up real quick. But in any case, this banking system, especially with China, we said this before, we think this is a linchpin that could blow up the whole thing. Will that happen guaranteed? I don't know. But I think the odds are very strong that it will. And do you want to take the risk? Do you want to have your money in CDs at Bank of America when this thing really goes bad? There's an electronic run on the banks that strip this thing out in 5 minutes. The next run on the banks won't be people lined up in front for 3 blocks long. The banks will just be closed. The ATMs will be shut off. All that money will be taken out instantly and sent somewhere. Just like money disappears from crypto trading accounts, like a big one in South Africa. Still haven't found the guys that did that. One morning. Gone. It's like that lovely cartoon episode from South Park, and it's gone. It's gone. People had $4.9 billion in one of the largest crypto trading consortiums down in South Africa, and one morning it was all gone. They can't find the people. They got an all points bulletin all over Europe and Africa. They don't know where they are. They're just gone. Money's gone. That's it. Goodbye. People think that can happen. People think it can happen. It happened in Cyprus. They're a member of the European Union there in Cyprus. Back in 2012-13, people went in one day and they didn't have access to any money at all, and the ATMs wouldn't pay out. And the people, the depositors in that country, did an 80% haircut of their life savings in the banks. The The banks
Wow.
invested in
80%.
bad Greek debt that rolled over on them, Italian debt. The banksters there were going to be destroyed, and they did what is called not a bailout but a bail-in, where they had the shareholders, in other words, the depositors of the bank, they decide they'd put that on them. They'd eat it, and that's exactly what happened. People think it can't happen here in the United States or in other major countries. Well, there's already laws on books right now, especially under the Dodd-Frank Act, which was passed in 2009, that makes it unmistakably clear that all deposits in banks are the property of the bank. They do not belong to the depositors at all. The depositors are nothing under law but a completely unsecured creditor to be paid off after the bondholders and the stockholders are made whole. And then if there's a single penny left over, which it will not be, that's what you're going to get. That's what the common people are going to get. And we're, one thing, Jeff, I hear the music coming, but I'd like to say we've noticed our business continues to go very well. We've noticed here in the last year and a half that the size of orders, the general size of orders probably increased threefold over what it was a year and a half ago. So many more people now are considering, they're not just buying a little bit, they're buying a lot more, and they're really, really concerned about their life savings. What's going on here? And I think the people that can do that are, probably we think that the people that own gold and silver are in the world, very tiny percentage in the Western Hemisphere. 1%, maybe a quarter, but nobody knows who owns physical bullion. You've got to get it before the music stops playing. This is a house of very dangerous musical chairs, except this time when the musical chair ends, you don't just lose your chair, you get electrocuted. You get the electric chair. And so you've got to have your money outside the banking system with no counterparty risk. We can't stress that. You buy gold and silver as wealth, life insurance to protect all your hard-earned efforts in your life. You should not buy it initially to make a whole big profit. We think your capital appreciation will be splendid in the next few years, and we stand by that. We strongly believe that. But the most important thing is you put it in a safe place that can't be seized, can't be taken, can't be wiped out. That's where the real function of gold and silver is. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That kind of idea. So I just want to end with that, and that's our cheery talk for tonight.
Yes.
Not real great news out here, but it's real.
One backslapper after another. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mike.
Tried to raise a little humor around it. You're welcome, Jeff. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Give the number out so if anyone wants to call and would just like to talk, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah, we sure will. We're happy to help you. Want to thank all of our new clients coming in off the program. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. We promise to take really good care of you. Our toll-free number is 888-751-3330. Repeat, 888-751-3330. Give us a call anytime, night or day. We take calls early in the morning, late at night. If you're in a foreign country and listening to this program, call us. No problem. We can get it to you. We've taken orders off Jeff Rense on the Chinese Indian border at 8,000 feet. Okay, in the halfway between Bhutan and Nepal. So Jeff has a wide audience here. So please call us anytime. We'll take good care of you. Thanks, Jeff, for having us on again. We appreciate it.
Okay, Mike. You betcha. Talk to you soon.
You bet.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Mike McGill, LibertyGoldandSilver.com. All right, great people. Wonderful family-run business, and we just are ecstatic that they're doing so well. Thanks to all of you. All right, we'll be right back with Stefan Verstappen next.
Do you know how to navigate past the upcoming dangers before it's too late and seize budding opportunities before others do? Forecasting worldwide since 1980, Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal, provides timely and accurate trend forecasts that have earned him the reputation as the most trusted name in trends. The proof is in the hundreds of accurate forecasts Celente has made over the past 30 years. the 1987 stock market crash, the clean food trend, the dot-com bust. The Trends Journal alerts subscribers to early, subtle signs of crucial trends that will shape our future. It allows readers to anticipate change, recognize the implications, and take proactive strategies. Put your money where your mind is with Gerald Celenti's brilliant and indispensable Trends Journal. Go to trendsjournal.com or call 845-331-3500. That's 845-331-3500.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 6,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rense.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times.
If you've been listening to this program for any length of time, you'll know that Fukushima, the greatest calamity in history, has now, as I've been warning since 3/11, killed off virtually the whole North Pacific Ocean and especially up and down the entire West Coast. The radiation is migrating inland and is moving across the entire country. There's only one proven defender to radiation exposure, the brilliant Chernobyl-proven discovery of Dr. Michael Kiriak, which combines the 4 most potent and powerful algae on the planet, imported to the U.S. and known as bio-superfood. I've taken bio-superfood every day for several years now and want you to do the same for your sake and the health and safety of your family and loved ones. Take the banner at the top of Rense.com and prepare to learn how to save your life.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Hey, want to feel young again? Are you tired, run down, have aches and pains, brain fog? This is science-based, not hype or fancy marketing. It really works. Carbon 60 helps detoxify your body on the cellular level. It stabilizes free radicals, just like the antioxidants found in red wine and berry stew, but on a far smaller, more bioavailable nanoscale. It's like a bottle of electrons, helping your body to function better. You can also apply it on your skin, topically, over muscles, joints, or organs. Most people feel results within minutes. This is not a drug. It's organic carbon. Feel better today. About 95% of our users report more energy and clarity of mind within 10 days. Give us a call at Greska's Carbon 60 at 720-600-6040 or visit our site at c-60.com. Call 720-600-6040 and feel young again.
Okay, welcome back, and Stefan Verstappen is here. The man, what do we call him? Mr. Preparedness, something like that. Prince of Preparedness. Not quite the king of preparedness, but he may get there. What are you doing?
I am a prince, yes.
A prince?
Yes, but I'm afraid I can't speak to you, Jeff, until you text me your vaccine passport. I'm afraid it's forbidden to speak to somebody that doesn't have one.
Well, going to have a long wait, my friend.
What, you think that's not coming?
No. I think the New Zealand police, let me find this, hold on. New Zealand Police Commissioner refuses to enforce vaccine passport mandate. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
First good news out of Australia.
Yeah.
Can't remember. It's been many months.
Yeah, no, it's frightening what's going on in Australia. I think we should invade Australia and liberate them. I mean, we did that for the French and the Polish, and it wasn't as bad for them as it is for the Australians. So let's get the troops and invade Australia and liberate them from their government.
I think it would be a noble event, and it would go down in history as being proper, moral, geopolitically correct. I don't think anyone would hold us in any way accountable in a negative sense.
Yeah, sure. We've nuked countries for less than what's going on in Australia.
Totally right.
Anyways, Jeff,
right.
I don't know. Did you get my memo about what we should talk about tonight?
Yes.
Did you want to talk about that?
Sure. Let's go to it. Yeah, go right.
Okay. Well, the first thing is that everybody on the West Coast should learn 6 simple words, and they are 不要开枪，我是朋友. Because this is going to be very important coming up for the future, especially on the West Coast. And what that is Mandarin for don't shoot, I'm a friend. Because I think we are heading... Huh?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. 不要开枪，我是朋友. Because, I think we're going to be at war with China. I really do. In my book, The Art of Urban Survival, when I wrote a section called Surviving War, and it says signs of impending war. Before war breaks out, there are several social changes that can act as indicators of approaching war. And all those social indicators are taking place in China. Increased patriotism, increased militarism, and of course
hold on. Increased communist patriotism. These people really buy into that stuff.
Oh, well, listen, they've been under communism for 80 years now. 80? 70?
That's right. 75 years.
Yeah, 75 years, something like that. Listen, that's like 4 generations, 3.5, 4 generations of communism.
They know nothing else. Right.
And communism rips the soul out of people. And after 3 generations, listen, my first wife was Chinese. Everybody knows I've lived in China. I've lived in Taiwan and Hong Kong. And I've traveled extensively through mainland China, Zhongguo Dalu. And, I even had state dinner with the mayor of Beijing and the mayor of Shanghai. So I got to see, all these people up close. Oh, by the way, my picture is on the cover, or was on the cover, of the People's Daily and the Shanghai Business Journal. So I've been around over there.
I hope you have copies of that. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's pretty amazing. I'm sort of like Forrest Gump, except with a slightly higher IQ. I find myself in these situations. I don't know how the hell I got there, but I always seem to be somewhere like in the background of something famous going on, and there's me in the background. They're watching it. So I know China and what they have been doing, and I still continue to follow what takes place in China. I follow a lot of vloggers that live there, expats. And this all started quite a long time ago already, about 6 years ago. The anti-foreigner campaign in China started, well, probably maybe 10 years ago, and it's really ramped up in the last 5 years. But the official state newspapers and media have been demonizing the West, especially America and Australia. They've got it in for Australia for some reason. And they have it in for America. And the propaganda, the anti-foreign propaganda is just outrageous. It's atrocious. I mean, if we were to print that kind of, those kind of stories and those op-ed pieces here in America, things like China is evil, China is our enemy, China has been infiltrating us, China has been attacking us with cyber weapons, China's out to destroy us. That's what they're saying about America in their public media, and they've been saying it day after day for the last 5 years. It's very scary. And then you add to it, when I wrote my book, The Art of Urban Survival, the increased patriotism. Now, we know that Xi Jinping has reinstated the kind of programming for the school children. They have to go through the whole communist indoctrination programming that dates back to the 1960s, dates back to the Cultural Revolution.
Right.
They're being indoctrinated all over again. This is like Stalinist era type of communist indoctrination. They've reinstated.
Yeah. There's something very, very demonic about arch communism. It's not. We don't have to play the Christian label game or anything like that. It's just not human. It's it's a whole different psychosis of humanity. And I mean that in the best sense of the term, because humanity is psychotic.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, well, listen, I've always said that China is the ace up the sleeve of the New World Order. You have to understand that the same people that control the Federal Reserve are the ones that control China. China is not controlled by Chinese. China is controlled by the tribe. Let's face it, that's who's controlling them. And China, throughout its history, has never been expansionist. As a matter of fact, they've been the reverse. That's why they built the wall. They want to hide behind the wall, leave me alone, don't let anybody come in.
That's quite an historic statement, and your point is well taken. Yeah, I wonder how much of that's still left, though, at the bedrock of their national psychology.
Well, 75 years of programming, 75 years of communist indoctrination and soul-sucking. Now, because, again, the propaganda. I mean, you got Xi Jinping reviewing the troops and telling them, prepare for war. We will smash America against the Great Wall of Steel. Come on. Can you imagine any other national leader in the world speaking like that wouldn't immediately been chastised by the entire world, by the UN, you know? But China gets away with it. Well, why does China get away with this? This is one thing that you got to think about, because China gets away with everything. They get away with organ harvesting. They get away with internment camps. They get away with genocide. Look what happened to Hong Kong. I liked Hong Kong. I loved Hong Kong. I lived there for a while. And I remember when they were going to turn it over, 1999, and it was going to be, one country, two states. Well, how long did that last? And look what they did to the protesters. I was in Taiwan during the Tiananmen Square massacre, and we got the live feed because Taiwan media did not edit the live feed that was coming out of China at the time. So I watched it all live at the time. And years later, when I went back in 2000, I was in Beijing, and I was in Tiananmen Square, and I was speaking to the people that were there, and I asked them about the Tiananmen Square massacre. And they said that they don't know how many people died, but afterwards they had to bring in bulldozers to scrape the coagulated blood off the pavement, which had accumulated to a depth of at least a foot. I mean, you had a foot of coagulated blood. That's how many people they killed.
Wow.
They ran them over with tanks. We see the famous clip about the one guy standing in front of the tanks, and they stopped, and he was a great hero. I like that clip. Great, good. Stand up in front of the tank. Of course, he disappeared immediately afterwards. The secret security hustled him off. Never seen again. We know what happened.
Wow.
Well, in the back of the head. We already know that. But the people that had protested, they were slaughtered mercilessly. Unarmed people. They came in with tanks. They opened up with machine guns. And those that were wounded and were lying on the pavement, they got run over by the tanks. So that's how communist Chinese deals with peaceful protests. And yet, the world is not an outraged, up in arms, outraged at the behavior of China. They get away with it. The media isn't destroying them. Why? Why do we give them so many breaks? Because China is the New World Order.
Got. But China isn't the end of the ladder. You've got to remember that. They're not the top rung. They're being controlled. That the planet's being controlled by a consciousness, some of which I think seriously is off planet.
I think so too. Yeah.
They're not number one. They're up there.
No, they're just useful idiots, of course. They're just a tool. I mean, and that's one of the reasons. Listen, the powers that be have been attacking China for 200 years. People don't know what really went on in there. I mean, it started way back during the Taiping Rebellion, which was the weirdest thing. It was also the most destructive civil war in history, with an estimated upward of 20 million people dead. And it was so bizarre. There was this peasant, he was a Hakka, and he went around claiming to be the reincarnated brother of Jesus Christ. And he got this huge following. Listen, it was AstroTurf. Don't tell me nothing. Because the Chinese at that time, they weren't Christians. Yeah, there was a few missions over there. They may have converted a few thousand Chinese to Christianity, but they were not Christian. Why would half the country join this guy in a revolution?
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Look, I smell the usual suspects. You know them by their fruits, I believe is the expression from the Bible. And boy, do I smell a stinker with that one. I can't find out the truth about it. But come on. And also, a Hakka, by the way, is often called the Jews of China. So suddenly he gets into power, and you know what he institutes? Communism, but the lunatic left-wing social justice network communism. I mean, these people were insane. Imagine if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez suddenly became king of America, right? And she made herself queen of the West, and then all the other people in that group there, that Elon Oldmar and all those lunatics, and they all designated themselves Queen of the West, Queen of the North, Queen of the South. They had this big communist, everything was made public, and they made like a communist regime out of it, and they all went around, and they were like, it was like Caligula mixed with Nancy Pelosi mixed with, these were lunatics, and they took over 3/4 of China and nearly completely destroyed China. And you know who saved them? It was a coalition of American and British troops. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Cartoon with Charlton Heston.
Oh, it's a long time ago. It was
a great movie, right? Where he's fighting the Mahdi.
Yeah.
He's fighting the Mahdi in Egypt.
Well, this was kind of another one, like, how about Lawrence of Arabia?
Exactly. It was like a Lawrence of Arabia. It was a great movie. I really liked it. But there's one scene in the movie where he goes to meet the Mahdi, who I believe was played by Sir Laurence Olivier.
I think you might be right. No.
Yeah. And he presented him with a silk gown that he said was given to him by the Emperor of China. Well, that's all true, because General Gordon was in charge of the foreign coalition that finally wiped out these communist neo-Christian lunatics called the Taipings. It was him that did it. So that was, their first incursion. And then their second incursion was to get the entire country addicted to opium. Oh, where have I heard this before, Jeff? Let me see. The tribe infiltrates a country and gets everybody addicted to a drug. The Statler family come to mind. Does OxyContin come to mind? Does fentanyl come to mind? This is what they did in China. Everybody thinks that the Chinese were opium addicts by nature. Actually, that wasn't true at all. It was because during the trade between China and England, China didn't really want English wool or English pottery. They would only accept silver for their goods. And within a few years, England was out of silver. So what the British East India Company did was flood China with cheap opium. And within 10 years, half the country was addicted to opium, with the usual, social decline, the crime, the violence, the prostitution, the murder, the murdering of the babies and the abortions, and, all the accompanying ills of a massive drug-addicted population was affecting China. Oh, and guess who was behind that? It was a family called the Sassoons.
They were big people. History so quickly. Let's phrase it this way: history so quickly walks away from us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could say we walk away from history, and that would be correct as well. I think history actually just is gone, and it goes. I think just packs up and leaves. It wants nothing to do with this. Millennials, Gen Z, I don't think they know how to leave anything behind. There's very little substance there. So it's all how you look at it. Anyways, things are not going to improve. That's a negative statement, but it's a factual statement. Things are not going to improve, and this is now Biden back in 2001. The creeper said it's going to be a dark winter. Well, he's been saying it again and again, and the inside word is that October, November, December are indeed going to be a very dark time, and primarily that statement is predicated on the fact that there are probably tens of millions of people who are in the process of dying right now, and yet they don't know it. If you look at their blood under a dark field microscope, you'll see right there, you'll see why they're dying. It's in the blood. This is a war on the human circulatory system, the immune system, and the blood. And I'm not kidding. It's not getting better.
No, I've heard of a lot of people getting sick these days, too. Oh, I remember last
from the backs.
Yeah. So, listen, and here's the other final piece in the puzzle, and that is the Canadian government they made a deal with the Chinese
it's not a government, it's a dictatorship. Sorry.
I know. Well, I'm trying to speak in terms that the average person still recognize, but of course, no. Well, we've been a dictatorship for... Canada has been a communist country for 40 years, trust me. I mean, it's been a nanny state for a long, long time. That's why Canadians are weak and pathetic, and they won't stand up and fight for their country. I'm so disgusted by my own countrymen. And, well, I guess if I was an Australian, I'd be pretty disgusted. But at least they're putting up something of a fight. But anyways, so... Justin Castro, or I like to call him Damien Castro, the Antichrist from the Omen, Damien Castro made a deal with the Chinese government that they can station troops in Canada to protect their property. Now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Like, who's going to attack Chinese-owned property in Canada that they need to station their own troops?
The tragedy of this all is how does he even get away with saying something that's stupid without being laughed out of office? I don't know.
What's wrong with our police department? Our police department protects everybody else's warehouse. Why can't our police department protect the Chinese warehouse? But I'll tell you why.
That's right. Hold on. Tell me why in a minute. Hold that thought. Okay. Take a break. We'll come right back.
Pacific Ocean, and especially up and down the entire West Coast. The radiation is migrating inland and is moving across the entire country. There's only one proven defender to radiation exposure, the brilliant Chernobyl-proven discovery of Dr. Michael Kiriak, which combines the 4 most potent and powerful algae on the planet, imported to the U.S. and known as bio-superfood. I've taken bio-superfood every day for several years now and want you to do the same for your sake and the health and safety of your family and loved ones. Take the banner at the top of Rense.com and prepare to learn how to save your life.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Even in a regular automobile, you are being pelted with non-stop Wi-Fi and electromagnetic radiation. Few people even know that, and fewer still know that EMR exposure is linked to cancer and many other unpleasant health problems. What if you drive an all-electric vehicle or an electric hybrid car or truck? Well, the amount of electromagnetic radiation is bound to be higher. The Protect Pro Smart Defender discs look elegantly simple, but unlike nearly every other EMR shielding device, the Protect Pro discs have been rigorously tested by one of Europe's most advanced scientific laboratories, and their line of remarkable products has been proven and certified to harmonize all forms of electromagnetic radiation instantly. No other product or company can demonstrate such proven scientific results. Visit protectpro.net, look at their products, and read the laboratory test results for yourself. Again, no other company has such hard scientific proof of immediate harmonizing and calming the ever-present fields of electromagnetic radiation that surround us. That's protectpro.net.
Oxygen. It's nature's oldest therapy and plays an essential role in destroying viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, and fungus, and keeping the human body healthy and strong. Now, you can give your body and your immune system a mega boost of disease-fighting oxygen with all-natural Oxy-C. With so many people now leading a sedentary indoor lifestyle, most are in a chronic state of oxygen deprivation, which sets up a perfect environment for disease, general fatigue, and a host of other symptoms. Oxy-C is yours in simple, convenient capsules. Nothing to mix, nothing to hassle with. Take it with juice or water anytime. Feel a cold or flu approaching? Have no energy or spark anymore? Try all-natural Oxy-C and prepare to be amazed. Oxy-C is only available from New Earth Health Solutions at Rense.com. Look for the New Earth banner at Rense.com.
Real people, real stories.
I have bruising that's all over my arms. 3 weeks after I was on the carnivore, I noticed, I'm looking at my arms, and I said, gee, I don't have any bruises on my arms, and I'm always full of bruises.